Hey, so sorry, my apologies about the messy area. This is my workspace, and my giant fan is turned off because I didn't want the noise in the background, but we'll do our best. So, what we're working on today is Keith's Bayard sword, um, specifically the blade portion. I'm going to show how and why I do what I do. So, what we have here are the various pieces to start us off, and these are very poor print quality. I really probably wouldn't finish these except that I'm doing tests and want to finish the example. So we've got our tip so far, and you can see what I've done here is there's a channel on the inside and also an offset for the base of the piece. What's going to happen here is that each piece is going to overlap, forming a grid pattern almost. Left and right, down the length of the blade. And that way, if we choose to put in a sport rod, that's going to add some strength. But for the most part, we're going to add a whole lot of strength from the very flat surface area of the overlaps. Because just that end join, that's not going to be that strong of a glue point. If all you're doing is just having two of these pieces, or even four of these pieces, kind of like that, that's going to be an area that can flex and potentially crack your paint or just simply break off completely. So by doing it with the overlapping flat areas like this, offset, they add a whole lot of surface area for the glue to grab, and it becomes a whole lot stronger. Now, one thing we have to do is clean up the edges, and that's where power sander. Just a really quick buzz across the edge and a really quick buzz across the bottom. That way the glue can grab even better and we can work some more. Be right back. Okay, so what I've done is I sanded down the edges, the base, where I'm going to put all my glue. And again, as you can see, this is a really terrible print. It separated really fiercely. Normally I would reprint this, but this is all part of testing a new printer and I want to see what's going to happen. It's not the worst thing in the world. I can fix it. It's going to take a fair bit of Bondo, maybe some plastic resin, but it'll work. So, next stage is we start gluing. As usual, got my super glue and my E6000, which is getting towards the end of the tube. Always fantastic. It's something of a goal to finish the tube before it glues itself shut. So, the way we're going to do this is we figure out which pieces go together, line them up, and then we're going to put down some glue, some dots of super glue, and then hold them together with, of course, clamps. If you ever are concerned about what to get one of your crafting friends for Christmas, get them clamps. They can always use more clamps. So, here's the process. Grab a tiny bit of E6000, put it around on the inside because if it leaks to the outside, it's going to be hard to sand and even harder to paint. Fortunately, we have some time. We can talk about it. Then some super glue, which I'm going to put on this inside edge, especially right there because there's a little bit of a crack. Some there, and just some random dots around any perimeter. The super glue at least will sand very well. Put it down, slide in our new piece, make sure we line it up as best we can, and clamp away. Now the super glue, it's there to basically hold things together while the E6000 sets. So the clamps are going to help hold everything in alignment until that happens. We sit around, wait a few minutes for the, well, a few seconds really for the super glue to set. I give it a few minutes just because. And then we add the next piece. And so on and so forth. Alright, so gave it a few minutes. The E6000 is going to take about a day or two to completely cure. Again, this is not a perfect blade. I wasn't trying to make it a perfect blade. The print's peeled, the print split. I wasn't working too terribly hard to get it to fit. It's going to take me a while to fix this. But this is fixable. I've got my hand power sander, I've got Bondo, and what we can see here is the way that the dividing lines are offset. That's the critical factor here, because that section right there, that's going to add a whole lot of strength to this blade. And I do that all the way along the length of this, just to make sure that, you know, even without a support rod down the center, this thing is going to be very strong. I mean, even just right now, I can hear a little bit of crackling, and I think that's actually from the print, not the gluing. So this is going to stay pretty solid. It shouldn't crackle, especially once I finish adding in the Bondo. I might even go over this with some casting resin. That's one of the other things. There's various add-ons that you can put to 3D prints to fill in the print lines. Personally, I like casting resin. It basically has the same effect, it's just a little bit thinner. But anyway, once I add that in, this should be very solid, and then we should end up with a final result. And yeah, fun times. And also getting to tune in a new printer. So that's always fun.